I go hard in Atlanta. Credit cards and scammers. Credit cards and the scammers. My name's Mr. Gooding with the fan. How do you remember that?
Love music, hate racism. Dave, Ed Sheeran.
Nihal.
Thank you. Was there a point when you were young that you realised you were different, or you felt different?
I used to, yeah, like, just think like, oh, you know, like, my life would be like a film and such, and I just didn't know how, you know, like, there was obviously like, I was doing everything. I was that type of person in school that would try everything. Like, I wanted to be a magician, I wanted to be a footballer, I wanted to be a musician, like.
That's ambitious.
Can you still do magic?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's such a fucking cool party trick to have.
I just, like, you get what I'm saying, like cards and stuff, like pick a card from the deck, like make a card disappear and stuff, like coins and that, like. It's a mad it's a useless trait to have.
No, mate,
other
it's
than
not, mate,
worked out
it's
for
not,
Dynamo
it's
quite
not,
well,
that's, mate, that's, you're
Dynamo's the person that inspired.
You're at a party, you're talking to a girl, and then you go, that's a cool thing to have.
One thing's interesting about you saying as a 14, 15-year-old is that did you always feel that you were destined for something bigger?
Yeah, I didn't know what it would be, but I just felt like, I don't know, like when I was at school, like, I felt like, yeah, I got to do something, you get what I'm saying? Like, because you see, me, I got a big problem with authority, like, I got a big problem with authority and like, and conventions and rules, like, I'm one of them people.
I'm exactly, so I couldn't fucking stand school just because, like, when you get told to do something, my instant, probably the same as you, instant thing would be like, well, why? Like, what, why? Like, I knew I wanted to be a musician from really, really early. And I was like, well, this isn't adding to where I want to go. Like, I just want to play music, and this is, why am I learning this when I need to go here? And it's, yeah.
Did you feel you were different?
Well, yeah, because I was ginger. So, like, that was, like, instantly just, like, ripped into from, like, the day I was, like, started school. So, ginger, had a stutter, wore huge glasses, you know, just a bit odd. But then as I got older, I kind of loved it. You know, like I've always kind of looked a little bit quirky. And when I was like really, you know, I never had much luck with girls and stuff like that. It was always, I just kind of looked a bit weird. And then when I started playing music, every time I'd do a gig, everyone would be like, oh, it was the ginger guy with the small guitar. And that, you get remembered for that. And then suddenly people you start actually gaining a bit of traction because you're memorable. I realised that, and I was like, my differences actually add to my success. The thing I always say to kids now, because like I always just say it's fucking great to be weird. Like, I know so many boring people that do boring things that were just always boring, but they were always safe, and they were just always like really good looking but quite plain. And like, I think you develop a personality if you're different, because you have to. You know?
I agree.
Different? For you at school, did you have to go through? Because I can imagine your school years looking. You were, and you're talking about the stutter, can't have been particularly happy.
I hated primary school. Like, with a passion. Like, cried every single day. Hated primary school. And then I got to high school and started playing guitar, joined a band, and it's like, music's just one of these things that just like, it gives you confidence. It just like, you're suddenly like, wow, I can actually like do something well. And before I picked up a guitar, I literally did nothing. I went to a primary school that was quite sporty, and you know, I couldn't play sport, and that was kind of it. Like, that was how you were cool. If you're good at football, you're cool, and I wasn't good at football. But then when I joined high school, it's such a like melting pot of different things that I started playing the guitar, and then suddenly I, you know, started fitting in.
What gave you confidence? Ed said that music gave him confidence. What gave you confidence? Because you talk on the album about how people project a certain image of themselves, but inside they're very different. You talk about that with rappers. What about for you personally? What made you confident?
Probably music as well, you know, like.
In what way?
Like, you see, like, me, I'm just one of them guys where, like, if you take away, like, music from what I do, like, I basically don't even really exist.
What did you need, Dave, to tell you that this was something special, that you had talent? The same with you, Ed. I mean, you guys aren't normal.
It's kind of seeing other people doing things, yeah, and realising that, do you know what, like, you can be like in a world that is smaller than the bigger world, but you could be somebody's best.
Yeah.
You could be someone out there's number one. And to know that like from young, yeah, like I was like some of my friends' favorite because I was just saying the stuff that they wanted to hear when we were younger, it made me feel like, rah, I'm the best out there to someone. Someone believes that I'm the best. Like, so I was thinking, rah, if these men believe that I'm the best, then like I can maybe convince the whole world over time. And like, you know, I'm not exactly the whole world, but like
You're getting there.
I'm making slow steps towards like letting people know in the world of rap, like it's subjective, and that's kind of difficult to take because someone could say, oh, I prefer X, Y, and Z to you, but it's also easy because like they could say, I prefer you to X, Y, and Z, and you might not have 10 Grammy nominations, 10 number one such and such, but you might just have a track that people feel, a freestyle that helps someone do something. Yeah, I think that's important.
Well, you have all of that, Grammy nominations and all of that. But when was it when you first said, Ed, okay, people believe in me, like people relate to me?
Well, no one did for a long time. It was like literally just my dad was just like, yeah, go for it, and then he was just so supportive. I don't know. My dad always says that I was very ambitious, but I think like the ambition only came when I knew it was possible. Like I only went, I'm going to play Wembley Stadium when I was sold out Shepherd's Bush Empire, and I was like, oh, I can go to the next and I can go to the next. But like when I was younger and I left school, I was just like, I just want to make a living playing music. I don't care what it is. Like I would have like just worked in a studio and just made tea and just I didn't care what it was. It had to be something to do with music. And
Happiness, I know, is something that's very important to you. Finding happiness and knowing what happiness is. We live in times which seem, certainly politically and socially, to be divided across lots of different things. What role do you think music has in building bridges between people? Do you think it does have a role?
I find that, yes, music does bring people together, and I know this interview is all about love music, hate racism, but I find as human beings, human beings are just bred to be cruel people who just don't get on, and like you can be brought up as a nice person and you can go through your life being kind, but there's so many people out there that are just like the reason we are divided at the moment is because we've always been divided. People have it doesn't matter who, like it was Irish people in the 70s who were white as well. Like it doesn't matter who you are. There's always a certain type of person that just isn't going to get on with people. And I was saying this to my dad yesterday. Like I split my thing is like, are you a horrible person or are you a nice person? And if you're a nice person, then I'll hang out with you. If you're a horrible person, you can fuck off, and I don't want to. You can get out. And I think, yeah, and I think music. If you make music that people like, people kind of are drawn to it. And if it's kind of like kind-hearted music, I guess, or good. If it's from the heart, people from the heart relate to it and go to it. Yeah.
Do you feel you have a responsibility as an artist to bring people together? Or do you think that's not part of your responsibility? It's quite interesting because you tell some extraordinary stories on your album.
Yeah, like I think with me, you know, I understand the sentiment, I guess, that like people are, you know, like what I was saying just there, how people are sometimes. I think that like it is in human nature to be afraid of what like you don't know. Like a lot of people are afraid of what they don't know, and I think that like just as time goes by in the age that we live in now, the way to like make steps forward is to just, I guess like, for me as a musician, try and educate the people that I can touch on what I can. I mean, whether that is in a world about, you know, violence, whether it's about race, whether it's about like emotions and how you treat your family members, whether it's about women and their like type of relations. I think that it's important to educate, because when people like understand things, then it's more of a choice. You know, I feel like there's some people in the world that do like completely understand and make the choice every day to do right or wrong, and there's some people in the world that don't understand the implications or what it is that they're doing and their actions, and they still like might be making the wrong moves, but it's coming from a place of not knowing, and certain people are coming from a place of knowing. And I think that, like, obviously there's a lot of different ways to attack and approach the situation, but to avoid like being inflammatory where situations are already
Right.
like, my way of making a positive impact, like you said, is just trying to, you know, educate, tell stories, and let people know where I come from, how it might, like, you know, be not too dissimilar, or it might be very, very, very different from where you come from. But again, like, the human story is one and the same, you know?
Yeah, of course.
Like,
I found that listening to Dave's album was, but people all feel pain, and it doesn't matter like where you're from. Is it like you can always relate to that, and I think that does bring people together. You find people, like, I'm sure when you do a show, it's like a real mismatch of, especially when you know, not just London, when you tour around the country, you're just really seeing different sorts of people come to your shows.
like, the experience that we all share, like, is so different in so many different like levels, where it's like not just your race being a big factor as to how you act and are, like where you're born, where you've grown up, who you've grown up around, the city that you're in. Are you in a city? Are you in a town? What you're exposed to from young, like what you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why I feel like there's a lot to learn from all sides. I feel like I've got like a lot to learn about myself, my race, my culture, and like music's definitely helped with that. Like,
In that respect, then, how do you feel about some of the negative reactions to Black? How did that make you feel personally? How some
Did you get
people
negative reactions to that?
Quite a lot, actually. Yeah, I know, right? The face says it all. I know the face says it all.
it was.
Do you want to? I guess.
Yeah.
To
Was that
explain what.
that loud? Was that loud, or was it loud to you because you were?
I think it was highlighted by Annie Mac and Greg James when they were like playing it on the radio and such, and I got some tweets about it straight away, like some DMs and like some messages. Firstly, I would probably say that like one of the reasons that like I avoided highlighting it was because of how much positive reactions that I've got, especially from
But
people.
what was the common theme? Like, what were they saying?
A lot of people were just saying that like, it was like, if I had made a song called X, Y, and Z, it would be racist. So this song is racist. Now, before I get into it, yeah, because we can like break it down, obviously, and have a conversation about it, like, I never took it to heart, because I always felt that like, a lot of people read headlines.
Yeah.
And there was a Twitter trailer that was out, like, oh, Black is beautiful, Black is excellent, the first 2 lines of the song, yeah? A lot of the people that DM me that response, I initially assumed you haven't listened to the song, you haven't made like an educated comment here. This is the same.
Well, it is just that it is just ignorance in general of being like, because you can make. I think making a song expressing how you feel and then having people tell you that you shouldn't be feeling that is not. That's not the point of music. That's not the.
Yeah, like it was a thing. It was happening,
It was
and
definitely a thing. Yeah.
again, like, I didn't highlight it because imagine like 10 people, yeah, that are white come up to you, shake your hand, and say that was an amazing song. I didn't know X, Y, and Z. That meant a lot to me. Like, even though I'm not Black, I felt that a lot. Like, that has changed my perspective slightly. And then you get 1 in 100 that says something silly or negative, and then you respond to the 1 in 100, and it makes it seem like the other 99 didn't resonate with it. And when you're like, you're one of the people that actually went out of your way to message me something in support of it, it just makes it seem like I'm reacting to everyone in that sort of light.
If you had people, I mean, obviously it's the week of the album coming out, but if you had people say negative things about the album,
Yeah, but like, that is good. Like, that's kind of like what I mean. Like, negative comments about what you do are good because they show that you are an individual, I think. And the moment that you're individual and you're like existing and you have an identity, like, not everyone can resonate with that. I saw a lot of like negative comments saying like, do you know what, like, it's a lot of good songs and like, yeah, he's telling a story, but I don't think I'll listen to it very often because it's heavy. And that was okay for me because like, my identity as a rapper, as who I am, is exactly what they're describing. And even though they don't necessarily resonate with it, I have achieved what I've set out to do by doing X, Y, and Z.
I've got some statements here for you to react to. One person can't change the world.
Wrong?
Do you believe one man can change the world? And what are you doing to change the world, do you think?
Just changing the world every day, innit? You put like a positive thing into the world, like change it, like
Do what you can, basically, you know?
yeah. It's like saying like raw, like it's like looking at the light in your house, yeah, and not turning it off before you leave to school, and saying to yourself, one light can't change the electricity bill. Like, it's gonna make a tiny difference. Like, it might be 24p, but it's gonna make a difference nonetheless. You know what I'm saying? Like, if all them lights were off all the times that they needed to be, it might make a £4 difference. Like, if we all were making the change that we needed to be, like, we might be like on course to like slow climate change down and stuff. You know, we might like have polar bears in 10 years. Like,
the world is a better place today than it was 10 years ago. Discuss.
I don't think so. I think the world's getting more and more hateful as time goes on, and people are allowing it as well. This is what really pisses me off about it. Is the you find like with the people that are now being put in charge, it just fuels more hate. It's now allowed. It's now like normal to hate someone who lives over the street.
it was always normal though, when you think about it.
Yeah, but I think
Information is what makes things seem, I feel, like more amplified. But I feel like information is just taking a curtain off of things that have always been there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I've started to feel like, rah, this is X, Y, and Z. I use that X, Y, and Z analogy bare. But so and so, yeah, it works, isn't it?
It works.
So and so is like, this is getting worse, and this is getting worse, and this is getting worse. But when I step back and I look at it and I really deep it, like who said it? Will Smith or something. It's not getting worse. It's just getting seen. Like, it's just now readily available for us to see in our face. This is happening. Like, people have always been like bad in ways. Like, people have always been like.
Yeah, but I think that it has just always been there. But I
think about 10 years ago. Say for example, yeah, like with like a lot of the stuff that's happening now with, let's say, a Me Too campaign, or like
Black
Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter, like outward misogyny, like police brutality. Like, these are now things that like you'll get pulled up on things that you've done 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Have you had anyone take up old tweets or anything?
No. Obviously, got to chat to management about that. All of those are deleted. You get what I'm saying?
So there's a kind of social issue there about 10 years ago, but then there's, in terms of a music issue, don't we live in the greatest time for music? Accessibility to music, the fact that an artist like you are #1 artist.
You can't fake it now. You have to be fucking good. I think that's the thing. There's no top of the pops. You have to, like, there are kids out there that are literally just unknown but great, who can put a song, like, every week there's a new rapper in America having a massive hit that isn't even on a deal. They just literally just put a song up and it gets fucking massive, and I think that's awesome because you just have to be good now.
I wouldn't necessarily say that like you have to be good to be popular, but like to have a long-term career in music, you have to be good. You can have a moment and be anything. Like, that's what social media will allow. There's no real filter. It's not like if you're quality, you will X. I'm gonna stop myself from the X, Y, Z. But if you're
A, B, C.
A, B, and C.
But hits have to be good to be hits, right?
Yeah.
Or you just think?
I don't necessarily agree. Like, I listen.
Is it not a talent and an art to be able to connect with that many people in order to be? Otherwise, everyone would be able to do it.
Like, there are rappers I listen to in America that will release a song, and they're not necessarily the greatest lyricists per se, and the beat may not be the best, but they're still good songs. They're still, like, you still enjoy them, right?
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to be playing Panda in 20 years.
That was a big tune.
But it was a huge tune, right?
No, that was a good song. I like that song.
I really liked that.
I like that
It was a
song.
big tune, no doubt about it. But lyrically, is anyone going to go back to that and
You'd
go?
be surprised when
Bro,
people
there's
play.
bars in that track.
You'd be surprised when people play in.
Bars.
Go on.
He's like, oh, Black X6, Panda.
Wait,
Black
Black
no.
Six Phantom,
Fa-
White Six
Fan-
looks like a panda.
Yeah, like that's a bar. Like,
But what does the chopper go Oscar for Grammy though mean? What does that mean? I never understood that line.
I can't lie, I didn't understand half of it. But if you play it right now, I'll sing it word for word. I go hard in Atlanta, credit cards and scammers, credit cards and the scammers.
Mr. Goldie and the Fans.
Mr. Goldie and the Fans. How do you remember that? But yeah, like I feel like we had a period in the UK where you could have put out anything. It could have been a parody. It could have been like any tune that was melodic. And I feel like that was over the last couple of years, and it could have like in the UK we was like discovering melody and marimbas and some of that style, like Afro swing was becoming a thing and it was exploding, and it was like anyone that was coming from that genre had like a moment per se, not to discredit anyone that was swing, but like at the end of the day now I feel like to have a long-term career off it, like you have to be very good to have a long-term career. But there was a point where you didn't.
It's amazing how many people. Yeah, I mean, you must have seen. How long have you been in the industry now?
17 years.
Yeah.
Radio.
It's just amazing to see how many. I've only been. I signed to a record label in 2011, so that's when I see my career starting. But every year, there's something. It's just there's the people that I was gigging with at festivals in 2011 are just not around anymore, or 12, or 13. It's just like there's always new things. It's amazing how you're going to find this in like 10 years time, and you look back and you're like, fucking hell, like remember this. It's mad.
To survive, you gotta be of like a serious level. To
I think it's
survive
very
in the
impressive now to make 10 years. I think 5 years is like good, but I think 10 years is like a very, very impressive thing.
What
to
are
do.
you on now?
My 10th year will be 20 or 21. So I haven't even done 10 years.
And,
You're gonna hit 10 years soon.
and you?
I'm on like,
What are you doing as the start date of Dave?
I'll say my first
It's
video.
BD before Dave and then AD for
When was
after
that?
Dave.
when was your first video?
May the 10th, 2015.
Oof.
Yeah, so 3 years. So you're coming up to 5 years. No, 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
Coming up to 4 years. That's good. That's strong.
I mean, like obviously,
That's really good.
we're counting from my inception, like from the first like thing that I'd ever done. I
Yeah,
don't
but
think that's
it doesn't matter.
But if we, do you know, we could count 5 years from my album, debut album. So maybe
So
this
this
is my
could be
first
4 days in.
4 days in.
How's it going?
You see that little Uzi meme where he's like, it's just like my third day here.
Wow.
You never seen that meme?
No. Lost on
No, I
us.
do
Lost
like-
on us.
So yeah, man.
Lost on us. Well, XYZ.
Nihal.
What a pleasure. What a pleasure.
Nice
Oh
one.
my God, what a pleasure. What an absolute pleasure.
Big Ed,
My
big
man.
dog.
Love music. Hate racism. Fairly simple.
Simple concept.
It is.
I like it.
And a powerful one.